Chapter 52:28. Energy flowed and a spatial entrance appeared. Everyone flew towards the spatial entrance. That was the Pure Land. There would be fortuitous encounters in the newly opened Pure Land. It was a huge fortuitous encounter. Zichen and Okon didn't hesitate and entered. In the Pure Land, spirit energy was abundant and rushed towards them. Okon sensed the concentration of spirit energy here and said excitedly, "Level 2 Pure Land, it's at least a Level 2 Pure Land." The reason why he was so excited was that once he obtained this Pure Land, he would definitely be able to advance to the second level of the Law Destruction Realm and his combat strength would increase again. But after the excitement, Okon calmed down again. With so many people here, it was too difficult for him to obtain this Pure Land. To be honest, Zichen had a higher chance of success than him. Get lost! An angry shout sounded, "This is mine!" A battle broke out for a stalk of spirit herb. The spirit herb shone brightly, releasing a dazzling light. Zichen's soul power extended. In his perception, that spirit herb seemed to be a law crystal. This is the first time we're here, so there are many fortuitous encounters. After we finish mining, the Pure Land will return to normal. Just as the battle broke out in front, someone avoided the battlefield and flew towards the depths. Okon looked at Zichen and said, "They've gone to the depths. We have to hurry." Zichen nodded. The two of them went straight into the depths. Those who stayed here were almost all existences below the 7th level of the Law Realm. They didn't have the guts to enter the depths, so they could only fight in the periphery. Once they obtained a stock of spirit herb, it would be a huge gain. Zichen's soul power had already been released, but it was inexplicably blocked. His expression changed slightly. Okon said, "Before the Pure Land is completely opened, we can't sense the situation in the depths." Suddenly, a terrifying aura surged out from an unknown space. A huge creature walked out from the depths. "It's a creature of the Pure Land." Okon said excitedly, "A Pure Land with creatures must not be low level. This Pure Land might even be a Level 3 Pure Land. Zichen, we're rich. Even if we don't control the Pure Land, if we obtain other fortuitous encounters, we will definitely have huge gains. It's not impossible to break through again." Buzz! Light blossomed beneath the feet of the person in front. It was a huge array diagram that was emitting a terrifying aura. A Dharma destroyer stood on top of the formation and pointed forward. A strong light flew out from the array diagram and shot towards the Pure Land's life form. Pooh! The light instantly pierced through the Pure Land's creature's body. The huge body of the Pure Land creature fell down with a loud crash. The light formation under that person's feet was still there, and he was moving forward quickly. "What's that?" Zichen asked. "It's the seal of a formation," Okon said. "It can stimulate one's combat strength to the greatest extent, just like a dharmic armament." As soon as he finished speaking, a sword light soared into the sky and killed another creature of the Pure Land. Okon lamented, "There is indeed a dharmic armament. This time around, there are indeed many hidden talents." In Zichen's perception, the realm of the Pure Land's creatures was around the 8th stage. There were many of them, and they were rushing out from the depths. "Let's go!" Okon signaled Zichen to continue moving forward, deliberately avoiding the Pure Land's creatures. Zichen noticed that some people groped the Pure Land's creatures after killing them. He didn't know what they were looking for. Since there are Pure Land's creatures here, there will naturally be the strongest one in the depths. Okon said in a deep voice while moving forward, "No wonder the Pure Land appeared on its own this time. It's led by the Pure Land's creatures." Zichen didn't understand. Okon explained, "The Pure Land's creatures are intelligent. Before the Pure Land appears, they are only a part of it. They will never be able to occupy the Pure Land. But once the Pure Land appears, they will have the opportunity to control the Pure Land just like us." Chen's expression changed. They can control the Pure Land too? This is not rare. Among the many Pure Lands, there are Pure Lands suitable for ancestor beasts to live in. Just like the Pure Lands function for humans, it is also a paradise for ancestor beasts. A roar came from the front, and a violent aura surged out. It's a Dharma extermination, level pure, land creature. Okon exclaimed, "Kill it and get the Dharma crystal. It's not weaker than the ones I gave you." Chen had already begun to refine the Dharma crystal that Okon gave him. It was still very useful for cultivation. His cultivation bottleneck showed signs of loosening. The two sped up. They went straight into the depths. There were much fewer people here. The weakest was at the 9th level of spirit technique. Among the many Pure Land creatures in front, there was one that was particularly huge. It was 10 feet tall, and a violent aura surged around it. At this moment, there was already a Dharma extermination charging towards it. Chen looked around. Among the many people, he didn't see that middle-aged man. He came in earlier than Chen, but he didn't appear. Could it be that he went deeper? At this moment, an angry roar came from the front. There was billowing demonic aura lingering, and a 10 feet tall Pure Land creature was sent flying. It was a hybrid demon. The two joined forces and sent the other party flying. Its strength is indeed tyrannical. When Okon saw this scene, his pupils couldn't help but shrink. Chen's expression didn't change much, but he also deliberately avoided the direction where the hybrid demons were. At this moment, a 9th level Pure Land creature charged towards Chen. Chen stretched out his hand and palm forward. Wang! A light seal suddenly appeared in his palm. The light seal suddenly enlarged in his palm, releasing a bright light. This is the seal of an array? When Okon saw this, his expression changed, and there was a hint of shock in his eyes. Bam! The attack of the creature of the 9-fold Pure Land instantly shattered the seal of the formation in front of him. The tyrannical power sent Chen flying. This scene was coincidentally seen by the Dharma extermination hybrid demon in the distance. A hint of disdain flashed past the corner of his mouth, and he continued to fight with the Dharma extermination level Pure Land creature. With such strength, he still dared to provoke him. He was simply courting death. Chen flipped over and got up, ignoring the 9th level Pure Land creature in front of him. Instead, he looked at Okon. "You said that this is the seal of an array?" Okon nodded, extremely shocked. It is said that only Dharma extermination, who has the core strength, can condense the seal of an array. Chen nodded slightly. No wonder when he used it previously it felt extremely jerky, as if he was suppressed by some kind of power. It turned out that his realm was not enough. In that case, he would use his fist. The Pure Land creature charged towards Chen again. This time, Chen punched. It was just a punch. Boom! Like a thunder explosion, the 9th level Pure Land creature was sent flying. When he landed on the ground, his body began to tremble. Chen stepped forward and finished off the other party. He had obtained a beam of pure energy. Next, the two continued to go deeper, and during this period, they didn't continue to attack. Just as they reached the depths, there was an angry roar. "Everyone get lost! This place is ours!" It was the hybrid demons. They had arrived here in advance, wanting to monopolize this place. In front of them, there was a Pure Land creature the size of a small mountain. Dharma extermination 2nd level. It's the 2nd level of Dharma extermination. Chapter 5229. Level 3 Pure Land was equivalent to level 3 Destroyer. Once he obtained this Pure Land, he would be able to break through. To Okon, this was a chance to reach the heavens in one step. That's right, going from level 1 to level 3 was like reaching the heavens in one step. Chen asked doubtfully, "That creature seems to only have the power of a 2nd level spirit spell. Why is this a 3rd level Pure Land?" Okon explained excitedly, because the Pure Land hasn't opened and they can't get the core opportunity. Now that it has opened, they have the possibility of controlling this place. Zichen nodded. Okon had explained it to him before, but now the hybrid demons had occupied the front and wanted to chase everyone away. They didn't have the advantage in numbers, but they were united. Scram! The Spell Destroyer Realm hybrid demon roared. Those who attack will die. A tyrannical aura surged, suppressing everyone. Who do you think you are to order us around? Just at that moment, a voice rang out from the crowd. Everyone, we are enemies with the hybrid demons, along with the fact that we have the advantage in numbers. Let's work together and kill them. That's right, kill them. Someone immediately agreed, following which the crowd was furious. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared coldly at the hybrid demons. The hybrid demons were laughing coldly. They weren't afraid at all, and there was even a hint of mockery at the corner of their mouths. That was because there were only people shouting, but no one stood out. Zichen sensed that after someone shouted in anger, not only did he not go forward, he even retreated a few steps. He shook his head. How could he expect such people to work together to deal with the hybrid demons? He looked around, but still didn't see that middle-aged man. Did he go around this place and sneak into the depths to find the greatest opportunity? After all, according to what Okon said, the greatest opportunity here was the core of the Pure Land. Scram! A shout rang out, and a terrifying aura surged in front of them. A hybrid demon's eyes flashed red as he forced out a level 1 Destroyer Realm hybrid demon who was good at hiding. With that hybrid demon watching, it was extremely difficult to sneak in. Okon was anxious, but he didn't have a good idea. The spiritual spell side wasn't united. Everyone had their own thoughts and couldn't form an absolute force to suppress the hybrid demons. Zichen looked at the mantis demons and then looked into the depths. Naturally, he also wanted to obtain the opportunities there, because it was related to whether or not he could break through. In addition, if he had a pure land of his own, he would have a place to stay when the other beings from the myriad spirit realm came here. However, before that, he had to deal with the mantis demons and the creatures of the Pure Land. Go, Zichen said as he walked forward. The crowd was still clamoring, but no one stepped forward. Zichen was the first. Did you see that? A mere 9th level spirit realm cultivator has such courage. If you don't follow now, aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Immediately, someone spoke up. Right, everyone hurry up. This is our opportunity. Why should we give it to the mantis demons? Someone else spoke up, but still no one stepped forward. The hybrid demons were strong and united. Under such a situation, whoever went up first would die first. Okon snorted coldly and followed. In fact, he was very nervous. Reckless dog! The hybrid demon who had a grudge with Zichen had a flash of killing intent in his eyes. 2 ants! I'll kill them alone! With that, he stomped on the ground. The earth shook and several cracks appeared on the ground. He used the force of the rebound to attack Zichen. The power of the hybrid demon surged over, bringing with it an oppressive aura. Zichen narrowed his eyes and released his aura. Although he was only at the 9th level spirit realm, he wasn't weaker than a spell destroyer. The other party's aura was also instantly dissolved by Zichen. The two of them punched each other. Boom! The air waves rolled out, forming a powerful shockwave. Okon, who was behind him, paused slightly as his robes fluttered under the air waves. Zichen retreated 3 feet. The hybrid demon also retreated 3 feet. Both sides were evenly matched. Everyone else was shocked. The combat strength of the hybrid demons was strong to begin with and could suppress spiritual spells of the same level. Otherwise, Okon wouldn't have been injured by the other party. However, they didn't expect that such a powerful existence would be blocked by a 9th level spirit realm cultivator. Both sides were evenly matched. Could it be that the hybrid demon held back? Everyone had the same thought in their hearts. The hybrid demon's face was gloomy as he snorted coldly. He charged forward again and punched a second time. "I want you to die!" The hybrid demon's body was strong to begin with, and this was something that spiritual spells couldn't compare to. Zi Chen's expression was indifferent as he raised his fist and infinite light bloomed. Boom! The second time they clashed, they were evenly matched again. This time, everyone was dumbfounded. It wasn't that the other party held back, but that this spiritual spell was strong to begin with. This was the first time they had seen something like this in their lives. Next, the two of them continued to collide like two machines, rumbling. Okon stood at the back and didn't attack immediately. He actually has such a physical body. The middle-aged man brought his attendant and walked in another direction. This wasn't the core. However, he was clear about what was happening in the core of the battlefield. "Sir, what happened?" The attendant tilted his head and asked curiously. "That one called Zichin can go head-to-head with a level 1 Dharma Destroyer Mantis Demon." The middle-aged man smiled. "Even I have never seen such a physical body." The attendant was shocked. "Even Sir can't compare to him." "Back then, when I was in his realm, I couldn't compare to him." The middle-aged man said, "As for now, he naturally can't compare to me." The attendant said, "That's true. Sir's physical body is even stronger than the hybrid demons." The middle-aged man suddenly stopped and took out a jade plate. There was a light spinning rapidly on the jade plate. "We're here." The middle-aged man had a smile on his face, a world within a world. After speaking, he released a powerful aura. In an instant, everyone in the Pure Land felt an inexplicable pressure. It was as if some kind of ferocious creature had awakened. Especially the Law Destroyers, their perception was even more sensitive. After sensing this aura, their faces changed drastically. "There's actually such an expert here." Okon was also shocked. At this moment, Zi Chun suddenly exerted his strength. He stretched out his hand and pointed forward. Then he slashed down. Heaven's slashing technique. The light formed a saber arc and landed on the mantis demon's body with a terrifying will. Puff! In the next moment, the hybrid demon's body was split into two. He was dead. Such an unforeseen event shocked everyone again. Their attention had been focused on that terrifying aura and not on this place. They didn't expect Zi Chen's sudden attack to be so terrifying. "Go inside." Zi Chen glanced at Okon and then attacked the second hybrid demon. Without any extra moves, it was still the Heaven's slashing technique. This move could end the battle quickly. Puff! The second hybrid demon fell as well. Seeing this, Okon's eyes flashed with joy. He quickly went around the battlefield and entered the depths. Chapter 5230. In the battle between Zi Chen and the mantis demons, both sides were evenly matched. Suddenly he killed. This originated from that powerful aura. Originally, Zi Chen was worried that the middle-aged man had already entered the depths. Among the people who came this time, Zi Chen only felt a threat from him. But after that powerful aura erupted, he knew that the other party did not enter the depths. Then he had a chance. So he made a prompt decision and killed decisively. After that, he attracted many mantis demons with his own strength. Seeing this, the others immediately ran towards the depths. Such an opportunity was very rare. As for working together to deal with the mantis demons, it was obviously impossible. In the blink of an eye, Zi Chen killed 2 mantis demons at the Law Extermination Realm. Then, Zi Chen's figure disappeared from the spot and went straight into the depths, courting death. The mantis demon with red eyes wanted to stop Zi Chen. He stood in front of Zi Chen's path. Puff! A cold light flashed, and the other party's body was split into 2. The third mantis demon was killed. Zi Chen appeared in front of the second-level Law Extermination Realm creature of the Pure Land. The other party roared and slammed down with a claw. A terrifying aura came head-on. This was the first time Zi Chen faced an existence of this level. He didn't dare to be careless. Swish! His figure flashed. When he dodged the other party's attack, Zichen tapped his foot and soared into the air. In the next moment, his hands moved forward. Dazzling light filled his vision. Buzz! A pitch-black crack appeared in the sky. Two heaven-severing techniques landed on the Pure Land creatures, body one after another. Taking advantage of the existence of the infinite light, a cold light quickly pierced into the other party's head. It was the slaughter spirit. Puff! When the strong light dissipated, the huge body of the Pure Land creature fell backward. It crashed to the ground with a loud bang. Zichen approached the other party and saw a shiny crystal. It was a higher quality law crystal. He put it away without hesitation. The others around were all shocked. They all seemed to be petrified and no longer moved forward. A Pure Land creature at the second level of the law extermination realm was already considered the strongest fighting force here. But who would have thought that in just one exchange, it would be killed by a 9th level spirit spell realm? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. However, even though he had seen it with his own eyes, he still found it hard to believe. Zichen didn't care so much. Taking advantage of the fact that the middle-aged man hadn't arrived, he still had a chance to obtain the greatest opportunity. The powerful aura that had appeared earlier disappeared in an instant. This gave people the illusion that it had never happened before. Since there were no other dangers, the group did not pay much attention to it. After they came back to their senses, they went straight into the depths. At this moment, the terrifying aura appeared again. It was the middle-aged man who walked out from the world within a world. His face was gloomy. Beside him, the attendant asked, "Sir, how is it?" The middle-aged man shook his head. With him as the center, the world began to crack like a broken mirror. "We can't protect this place anymore. Let's go." He walked towards the entrance. After releasing his powerful aura, there were only two choices left for this Pure Land. If it was the world within a world, its quality would be even higher. If it wasn't, then it would be destroyed. Now that it was discovered that it wasn't, the Pure Land was about to shatter. Okon was the first to rush into the depths, and he was also the first to rush out. "Zichen, run!" He shouted at Zichen. Zichen was stunned. He had obtained the opportunity so quickly. However, since he had obtained the opportunity, he had become the master of the Pure Land. Why should he run? This Pure Land is about to collapse. He shouted again. Zichen's face suddenly changed. Only then did he notice the abnormality around him. The space began to crack and would shatter at any time. Why is this happening? Zichen turned around and ran. He didn't dare to stay any longer. Behind him, the others also ran out, their faces full of horror. A powerful force that transcends the world has appeared here. That's why it's about to collapse. Zichen thought of the middle-aged man. The terrifying aura that the other party had released was obviously beyond the level of this world. However, why did he release his aura? Moreover, he didn't go into the depths but went somewhere else. Was he looking for something? He thought of what Wei Luo said back then. He was looking for another space. Did he not find it? Everyone was terrified. No one was looking for the opportunity anymore. Because when the ownerless Pure Land shattered, the power that erupted would be very terrifying. When the two were about to reach the exit, the world exploded. Boom! It was as if they were in the middle of a destructive storm. The tyrannical power raged, as if it was about to tear their bodies apart. Zichen's face changed. For the first time, he felt the danger. A mournful scream rang out in the air. The Pure Land shattered. Zichen was thrown out. His body rolled on the ground. He suddenly coughed out a mouthful of blood. "Zichen, are you okay?" Okon's voice came from the side. He walked towards Zichen. Other than his pale face, there was nothing wrong with him. Zichen got up and looked at Okon with a surprised face. "How did you dodge it?" Okon said, The power of the Dharma Destruction Core can temporarily prevent the Pure Land from shattering. You don't have the Dharma Destruction Core now, so you were injured. Then Okon said in a deep voice, "We can't stay here for long. We have to leave quickly." Zichen nodded. Now that he was injured, it was more and more troublesome. And all of this was done by the middle-aged man. Zichen didn't understand. The other party was so powerful. Why didn't he go to the core area to get the Pure Land first, and then go to other places to search? This way, the Pure Land wouldn't shatter. "Are you trying to run?" A cold voice sounded. Some hybrid demons came forward and surrounded the two. Okon turned his head and looked around. The other survivors were all standing in the distance. They were all spectators at the moment. They had no intention of going forward. Okon lowered his voice and said, "What do we do now?" Zichen narrowed his eyes. He only had one word: "Kill." His voice was cold and his face was cold. Okon glanced at Zichen again. From what he knew, Zichen was not a murderous person. Swoosh! Zichen put two fingers together and instantly slashed forward. Heaven slashing technique. Only this move could kill the enemy quickly. The hybrid demon that was targeted by Zichen's attack shouted. A sharp blade appeared in his hand and blocked in front of him. Boom! A powerful force exploded, and the mantis demon at the first stage of the law destruction stage was sent flying. When the other mantis demons saw this, they immediately surrounded Zichen. They were good at close combat. Zichen was not to be outdone. After giving Okon a look, he fought with the others. There were more and more survivors around them. They were all watching, including some ancestor beasts. "Sir, the servant also looked over. They can't live." The middle-aged man turned around and left. "The hybrid demons can't live?" The servant followed and asked, "I don't know if the hybrid demons can live or not, but Zichen can't live." The middle-aged man said, "Even if he can kill all the hybrid demons, including the second stage Dharma Destroyer, the spectators will kill him." Chapter 5231. The middle-aged man turned and left. The attendant followed behind him. He looked back and saw that Zichen was being surrounded by the hybrid demons. The others watched from afar and had no intention of interfering. "Sir, where are we going next?" The attendant asked. "The news this time is wrong. I have to go back." The middle-aged man glanced at the attendant. "And you, it's time to break through." The attendant nodded. He had been stuck at the 9th level of the spirit cultivation realm. It wasn't that he didn't have the resources to break through, but that the Lord needed this realm. Okon faced a hybrid demon at the 1st level of the law annihilation realm, and the two of them fought. One hybrid demon was enough to deal with Okon. Hence, the other hybrid demons charged towards Zichen. There were 6 of them. 5 of them were at the 1st level of the law annihilation realm, while the remaining one was at the 2nd level. They appeared to be besieging him, and a terrifying pressure surged in all directions. Zichen's eyes were cold. Facing the attacks of these hybrid demons, he attacked with the heaven-severing technique. This was one of the most powerful attacks that Zichen could use at the moment. Bang! The weapon in the hybrid demon's hand was sent flying. Zichen's figure flashed, and he quickly approached the other party and punched out. Boom! A powerful shock wave sent the other party flying. Wow! Then, the heaven-severing technique appeared again. That hybrid demon fell to the ground and died. His body immediately disintegrated and turned into white bones. And under the white bones, there was a crystal. It wasn't in the Pure Land, but it was outside. Pooh! After killing one, Zichen quickly retreated with a bloody wound on his body. His face was a little pale. This was the first time he had such a huge consumption after coming to the immortal spell world. He didn't have time to pick up the crystal on the ground and fought with the other hybrid demons. The people watching from afar were shocked. Even someone of the same level might not have such combat strength. But now, the powerful hybrid demons were actually no match for a 9th-level spirit cultivation realm. Pooh! The second hybrid demon was killed. Looking at the sparkling crystal, everyone's eyes flashed with greed. This thing was useful for law annihilators, and was even more useful for spirit cultivation. It might even help them break through. This time, the destruction of the Pure Land had left many people empty-handed. Therefore, when they saw those crystals, they were moved. Right now, all they had to do was wait for both sides to be injured. Then they would step forward and eliminate both sides in one fell swoop. Zichen, what should we do? Okon had an anxious look on his face. He was already at a disadvantage, and when he looked at the surrounding people who were eyeing him covetously, he knew that he had no hope of survival, and his battle prowess was also affected. Kill! Zichen's words were still the same. His expression was cold and decisive. Pooh! The third mantis demon fell. At this point, there were still 2 first-tier Dharma destroyers and 1 second-tier Dharma destroyer. Zichen wasn't having a good time either. There were several wounds on his body, 2 of which were so deep that his bones could be seen. This was all thanks to his powerful physical body. After all, he was the strongest person in the myriad spirit realm. He had almost no weaknesses, and his body was comparable to the mantis demons. The eyes of the remaining 3 grew increasingly ferocious. Zichen took a deep breath, looked at the 3 people in front of him, and shouted, "Kill!" He charged forward again. As the 3 met, the 4th mantis demon was killed. There was an extremely long wound on Zichen's abdomen. There are 2 more. He smiled coldly and put 2 fingers together on his right hand. In his left hand, he was holding a law spirit, which was rapidly absorbing power. You're courting death. The last mantis demon at the first-tier Dharma destroyer charged at Zichen. Facing his attack, Zichen did not dodge at all. He took the attack head-on, and then the sky-severing technique fell. Pooh! His head was chopped off. At this point, the 5 first-tier Dharma destroyers were all dead. This kind of battle prowess was incomparably shocking. However, Zichen was obviously an arrow at the end of its flight. His body swayed and could fall at any time. Ao Kang's face was filled with worry. However, the current him was also powerless to protect himself. It's your turn. Zichen looked at the second-tier Dharma destroyer. I want you to die. The second-tier Dharma destroyer mantis demon roared angrily. His abdomen suddenly lit up. That was pure black light, like a black gem, releasing a terrifying aura. Okon said that it was the core of power. As long as one reached the Dharma destroyer realm, one could condense this core power. At this moment, the second-tier Dharma destroyer realm aura completely erupted, forming a terrifying pressure that swept toward Zichen like a huge wave. Everyone in the distance held their breaths. One had to know that Zichen had the record of killing a second-tier Dharma destroyer realm. However, at that time, his battle prowess was at its peak. Right now, he was on the verge of exhaustion. Could he still win? The last collision happened. Swoosh! The law spirit in Zichen's hand completely dissipated. His left and right hands each displayed the sky-severing technique. Then the 2 sides met. Infinite strong light shone, but Zichen's eyes were still cold. In that strong light, an imperceptible cold light appeared. Pooh! It instantly pierced through the second-tier mantis demon's chest. The strong light flashed, and Zichen fell to the ground. Has the outcome been decided? Everyone's eyes lit up. The second-tier mantis demon stood there, motionless, and his expression was frozen. Then his body fell down with a bang, and then turned into a skeleton. Such a scene shocked everyone. There were exclamations all around. He actually killed another second-tier Dharma destroyer realm. In addition to being shocked, everyone also looked at Zichen. Was this a mutual destruction? Zichen's fallen body did not turn into a skeleton. Obviously, he was not dead. He moved and then sat up with difficulty. There was an uproar all around. After seeing this scene, the mantis demon who was fighting with Okon did not go forward to kill Zichin. Instead, he turned around and ran. Okon ran to Zichin. "Zichin, how are you?" At this moment, blood was constantly flowing from the corner of Zichen's mouth, and the wounds on his body were also gushing out blood. His injuries were very serious. He held a crystal in each of his hands, absorbing the energy from it. Then he slowly shook his head, indicating that he would not die. Then Zichen said, "That's right." "What?" Okon did not hear clearly and leaned over. Zichen could only repeat it again. However, after hearing this, Okon was completely stunned. "Even now, you're still thinking about the crystals after the mantis demon's death?" Okon felt a little dazed. Wasn't the most important thing now to run away? "We can't run away. Guard the spoils well," Zichin said weakly. The others had already come forward. The two of them had nowhere to run. Seeing this, Okon could only go and pick up the spoils. One of the first-tier Dharma destroyers laughed. "You guys really don't know what's good for you. You're already at this point. Instead of kneeling and begging for mercy, you guys are still so greedy." The others also roared with laughter. "This is good too, since you guys were greedy first. Don't blame us for being rude." Everyone began to close in. Okon returned to Zichen's side and looked at Zichin. To be honest, if he could run now, he would not mind running away himself. Unfortunately, the people around him obviously did not give him the chance. Then, he could only stand on the same side as Zichin. At the same time, he could only pin his hopes on Zichin. "Kid, don't blame us. If you want to blame someone, blame your greed. You took something that doesn't belong to you." A first-tier Dharma destroyer walked forward with a sinister smile. At this moment, Zichin was holding the crystal in both hands and had no time to attack. But this did not stop him from continuing to kill the enemy. Buzz. Chapter 5232. Previously, the massacre spirit had appeared twice and killed 2 beings at the 2nd level of the Dharma destruction realm. It was also because of its existence that Zichin possessed such terrifying combat power. However, Zichin had intentionally hidden it the first 2 times and no one had seen it. Until this time, light exploded and killing intent swept across. The massacre spirit was like a bolt of lightning, charging straight ahead. Zichin was holding a crystal in each of his hands and refining it, absorbing the spiritual energy within to restore himself. He did not control the massacre spirit. Everything was moving according to its will. Poof! 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 As the spirits of slaughter swept past, existences fell one after another. Back then, the massacre spirit had absorbed too much killing intent from the mineral veins. After countless years, it had been in the massacre spirit lineage and had condensed countless killing intent. At this moment, facing a group of spirit tribe members who wanted to take advantage of the situation, the massacre spirit unleashed its strongest killing intent without being controlled by anyone. Okon stood beside Zichin and watched the scene in shock. Originally, he was close to despair and regretted coming along. He did not gain anything and even had to pay with his life. However, the situation was reversed in an instant. Those who originally had greedy looks on their faces now had looks of horror on their faces. They all retreated and looked in front of them in fear. The light, with infinite killing intent, was harvesting everyone's lives. It was even more terrifying than Zichen's previous attack. As the light swept past, the dead became skeletons. Some left behind Dharma crystals, and some left behind Dharma spirits. In the blink of an eye, within 100 feet radius, only Zichin and Okon were left. The others had already retreated far away and did not dare to approach. The massacre spirit appeared beside Zichin and floated there quietly. Okon was the closest to the massacre spirit. Under close observation, The killing intent almost made him unable to move. At this moment, he firmly believed that Zichen came from the upper realm. Otherwise, how could he have such a treasure on him? At the same time, he also understood why Zichen asked him to pick up the spoils first. Because he had great confidence in himself. Everyone else was still in a state of shock. At this moment, Zichen opened his eyes. He glanced at the crowd in the distance with an indifferent expression. No one dared to look him in the eye. "Pick up the loot," Zichen said. Okon nodded subconsciously, like a little follower. He immediately went forward to pick up the spoils of war. The people in the distance watched with burning eyes, but no one dared to step forward. Just like how they were hooting in the distance earlier, none of them were willing to be the first to come up and be cannon fodder. A hint of disdain flashed across the corner of Zichen's mouth. There were actually benefits to dealing with such people. For example, as long as they were subdued, now there would be no more danger. Each of them had their own thoughts, were scheming against each other, and were on guard against each other. Okon walked back and prepared to hand the things to Zichen. Zichen slowly shook his head and closed his eyes again. It wasn't that he didn't want to take it, but he didn't have the strength to do so. Right now, he was wholeheartedly recovering. This was the first time Zichen was so exhausted and injured since he came here. If these people were as fearless as those fiends, then it was still unknown who would live and who would die in the end. Okon stood at the side. His injuries weren't serious, so as long as he stood there with the slaughter spirit, no one dared to act rashly. Their eyes were full of unwillingness. There were also some people whose eyes were flickering, as if they were calculating something. Zichen, who had his eyes closed, suddenly said, "Before I stand up, I hope you can think of a way to kill me, or else I will definitely kill all of you." Zichen, who was speaking, still had his eyes closed, but everyone's expression changed. "Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten us?" Immediately, someone shouted angrily, "You're just a level 9 star spirit. Don't you know who you are?" Zichen didn't reply and continued to recover. Seeing this, the other party said, "Everyone, if we join forces, can't we even kill a level 9 star spirit? Moreover, it's a heavily injured level 9 star spirit. That's right, we have so many people. Why would we care about a level 9 star spirit?" Immediately, someone agreed. "Everyone, I think we should join forces. Otherwise, if the news spreads that we're being threatened by a level 9 spirit realm cultivator, wouldn't we become a joke?" "Yes, everyone should join forces. Join forces and kill him." Everyone was shouting loudly. It was obvious that the crowd was in a frenzy. Okon was a little nervous. If they really joined forces, it would be a huge crisis. Just then, Zichen opened his mouth again. "I've already remembered your faces. Next, if you go to Okon's Pure Land, you will also die." This sentence was undoubtedly adding fuel to the fire, forcing everyone to attack. Everyone's voice was louder. Their eyes were filled with ferocity. But that was it. Still, no one was the first to attack. The slaughter spirit, cold light radiated in all directions, quietly floating. As if he felt that this wasn't enough, Zichen continued. "Also, if I travel around and meet you, you will also die." When this sentence came out, there was a strong killing intent in the surroundings, because Zichen was equivalent to forcing everyone into a dead end. It seemed that other than killing him, they had no other choice. Okon was very nervous. He didn't understand why Zichen didn't stop but was so aggressive. What if they all attacked together? How should he deal with it? After that, Zichen didn't speak anymore and started to focus on recovering. Okon looked at everyone nervously. The killing intent in the surroundings was getting stronger. "Kill!" Someone roared. "Kill, kill!" Someone roared. "Kill him!" Everyone shouted in unison, and killing intent gathered. Just as Okon's face changed, thinking that everyone was really going to charge up, one of them suddenly turned and left. The other party's voice was very loud, but now he was the first to leave. "Damn it! Standing with a group of cowards, it's really disgusting." A group of people don't even dare to kill a 9th-level spirit spell. As the other party walked, he cursed, "I'll leave first. I won't play with you anymore." As soon as one person left, a second person immediately left. "Serves you right. He dared to threaten you. How cowardly are you?" After the second person left a sentence, he also left quickly. Then there were people who hurriedly left, and they naturally didn't forget to leave a sentence. When the others saw this, they also tried their best to escape. After all, the fewer people left, the more likely they were to be killed. And if they were too slow, they would be scolded as cowards. Everyone also fled very quickly. Thus, this scene caused Ao Kong to be dumbfounded. When he came back to his senses, he turned his head to look at Zichin. Did he expect this? At this moment, Okon began to re-examine Zichin, from the beginning until now. Chapter 5233. Okon recalled the scenes that happened back then. Previously, Zichin could still fight evenly with a mantis demon without any abnormalities. Everything had changed after the appearance of that powerful aura. Zichin suddenly displayed his might and killed everyone, no longer hiding his strength. It was a pity that this world had collapsed. Otherwise, the greatest fortuitous opportunity in this Pure Land would have belonged to Zichin. After the Pure Land shattered and they came out, Zichin faced the siege and did not think of breaking out. Instead, he fought with all his strength. Even if he was seriously injured, he had been hiding his greatest trump card. In the end, he revealed his trump card and shocked everyone. Could it be that Zichin had predicted this? Everything was within his calculations. Everyone around him had run away, because if they stayed now, Zichin would definitely attack them after he recovered. No one was a fool. Even the low-level existences had left. The siege had nothing to do with them. But what if that person had a strange temper and killed them after he recovered? Wouldn't that be the end? Even the ancestor beasts had fled. Okon still stood there, guarding the surroundings. The slaughter spirit also floated there, quietly guarding Zichin. Time passed bit by bit, and the surroundings became colder. Looking up at the sky, it was getting dark. The night here was obviously not a threat to a spell exterminator. However, at this moment, Okon was still vigilant and did not dare to be careless. A cold wind blew, accompanied by some bones dissipating. Okon became more and more nervous. Those people had retreated, but what about the mantis demons? One had to know that, previously, one of the mantis demons had escaped. It was the one who fought with him. Could it be that the other party had brought helpers? Just as he was feeling nervous, Zichin finally opened his eyes, and a fluctuation flowed from his body. "You've recovered?" Okon sensed that something was wrong and hurriedly turned to look at Zichin with an excited expression. Zichin stood up and shook his head. "Not yet, but I can walk now." Okon nodded and said, "Well, let's get out of here quickly." Okon really didn't want to stay in this place at all. He always felt that there were pairs of eyes staring at him in the dark. Zichin nodded. His injuries were not light, and in this environment it would be difficult for him to recover in a short time. Now he understood why everyone wanted to go to Okon's Pure Land to recover. At the very least, in a place full of spiritual energy, his injuries would not worsen. The reason for that was because their power was being consumed all the time in that place. Here, the spoils of war. Okon passed the Law Spirit and Law Crystal to Zichin. This time, he didn't kill a single person. They were all killed by Zichin. Zichin extended his hand and received it. Then he gave Okon a Law Crystal. Okon shook his head and did not take it. Zichin said, "I still have a lot here." Okon shook his head again and said, "No one will complain about having more of these things. Moreover, you haven't broken through yet. These law crystals will be of great use to you." Okon continued, "I'm looking forward to the moment when you advance to Law Destroyer." This sentence wasn't said casually. Okon was really looking forward to it. This time he followed Zi-Qin and was very clear about Zi-Chen's fighting strength. Speaking of which, for such an existence to be able to stay in his pure land, there were only benefits and no disadvantages. Okon might have been a little wary of Zi-Qin before, but after this battle, he didn't have the slightest bit of vigilance, because Zi-Qin was too strong. Such a powerhouse simply didn't care about a mere first-grade Pure Land. If he wanted to, he could easily take down a second-grade Pure Land. Zi-Qin took back the Law Crystal. After witnessing the power of a Law Destroyer, he also wanted to break through immediately. The two of them hurried through the night towards the Pure Land. Along the way, Okon asked, "Who exactly is that powerful aura?" Zi-Qin said that it was a middle-aged man. Okon naturally had an impression of him. His expression couldn't help but change. It's actually him. But if he has such power, why would he want to destroy the Pure Land? Zi-Qin said, "It shouldn't be destruction but other motives." Okon said, "It seems that the rumors are true. He's looking for another world. Otherwise, why would such a powerhouse come to this place?" Then Okon sighed. Such a powerhouse is really generous. If he wanted to, he could completely control this Pure Land first, and then look for another Pure Land. But it's obvious that he doesn't like it, so he directly released his aura to search. If he succeeds, this world won't collapse. But if he fails, it proves that he came to the wrong place. From the beginning to the end, he didn't like this world at all. It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. When he saw that world, Okon felt that it should be the greatest opportunity in his life. He probably wouldn't meet it again in the rest of his life. But in the eyes of others, this place wasn't important at all. "Right, where did that person go?" Okon asked. "Why didn't I see him appear?" "He left." When the other party left, Zi-Qin noticed. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to risk his life against a group of mantis demons and leave the slaughter spirit as a backup. This was because he was very clear that the biggest threat had left. The next existence wouldn't be a threat to his life. This time, with these resources, it would be much easier for him to break through to the first level of the Law Destruction realm. Returning to the Pure Land, everything was as usual. Those who left back then didn't return. Zi-Chen's threat was effective. Zi-Chen said goodbye to Okon and returned to his inn. He saw Xiao Zhu, who came after hearing the news. Xiao Zhu clearly felt that Zi-Chen's aura wasn't right, and there was a hint of worry in her eyes. "Don't worry, I won't die." Without waiting for the other party to speak, Zi-Chen said, "Cultivate well. After I recover, I'll take you out for a walk." Xiao Zhu nodded. After seeing that Zi-Chen was fine, she left. She was now mainly responsible for the security of this street. A first-level spirit spell was enough to maintain the order here. Zi-Qin took out the law spirit and began to heal his injuries. It took a full 5 days to refine more than a dozen high-grade law spirits before Zi-Chen's injuries were completely healed. After that, Zi-Qin took out the law crystal. Next, he would refine the crystal and try to break through to the Law Destruction realm. He didn't care about the consumption and first refine the ones given by Okon. After that, he would refine the spoils of war. Finally, it was the 2 crystals of the second level of the Law Destruction realm. After refining the last crystal, Zi-Chen successfully broke through to the next realm. Buzz. Chapter 5234. With Zi-Qin as the center, an energy whirlpool appeared around him. The spiritual energy in the inn quickly gathered towards the whirlpool. At the same time, there was also a wave of pressure emerging. First, it was the entire Rat Road street, followed by other streets, and finally the entire Pure Land world. They all felt a suffocating pressure. As the Lord of the Pure Land, Okon's perception was the most sensitive. When this powerful aura appeared, his expression changed drastically, thinking that a strong enemy had invaded. But then he sensed Zi-Chen's aura. His expression changed again. Then it was ecstasy. Qin had successfully broken through and reached the first level of the Law Destruction realm. This meant that his combat strength would be even stronger. With Qin here, it would be of great benefit to him. At the same time, after breaking through, Qin looked down on his Pure Land even more. Everyone in the Pure Land noticed the abnormality. The people of Rat Road Street stared at the inn where Qin was. A moment later, the pressure disappeared and Qin walked out of the inn. Along the way, everyone looked at him with eyes full of respect. "Congratulations." Okon appeared with a smile on his face. Qin nodded with a smile. Not far away, Wei Luo, Hayden, and the others also appeared. They had already learned about what happened outside from the Lord. They also had a deeper understanding of Qin's strength. This time, Qin broke through again. They didn't know how much his combat strength would increase, but it would definitely be very strong. Such a fortunate thing. Let's have a drink. The two of them walked out of Rat Road Street. Currently, on this Rat Road Street, there were no decent taverns. Let's go together. Along the way, Qin saw Wei Luo and the others and took the initiative to invite them. Everyone nodded, naturally willing in their hearts. The current Qin was not the same as before. Back in the battle in the wasteland, other than Okon's opponent who escaped, the other hybrid demons were all killed by Qin. After this hybrid demon returned, he reported the matter in detail. Knowing that everyone was killed by a 9th level spirit technique, they were very shocked and didn't dare to believe it. Therefore, he immediately reported this matter to the higher-ups. Not too long later, a powerful fiend arrived and looked at that first-degree realm expert. "You're saying that no one has obtained that piece of Pure Land and it has shattered on its own?" The hybrid demon that escaped was startled. He thought that Master was asking about the Grade 9 and didn't expect him to ask such a question. Therefore, he told the truth about what had happened. "It seems that the news has been leaked," the hybrid demon said. "Since the Pure Land has been destroyed, it means that place is not our target." While the first-level Yimo was confused, the other party pondered for a moment and said, "Since that's the case, let's go take a look around." Qin took Xiao Zhu and left the Pure Land to train outside. Stepping on the wasteland, Xiao Zhu looked at her surroundings. Her state of mind was clearly different from before. After becoming a Dharma destroyer, Qin gained a new understanding of this world as he walked through the wasteland. The most obvious difference was the rate of energy depletion, which was much less than when using spiritual techniques. Far away from the Pure Land, Xiao Zhu looked at the holes that could be used to hide. She was filled with emotions. There might even be people inside now. The two of them walked aimlessly. After half a day, they saw a stone house. It was the place where old Yao rested. They didn't expect to walk here. This time they were here to train, so the two of them didn't stay here. At night, Qin sat on a huge rock and looked into the distance. Xiao Zhu stood at the side. She had never seen the night of the wasteland. Back then, when she experienced those nights, she was on tenterhooks every night. Qin was drinking while Xiao Zhu was thinking about the past. Suddenly, an ancestor beast flew over from the distance. It headed straight for Xiao Zhu. Seeing this, Xiao Zhu immediately mobilized her energy to form a defense. This ancestor beast didn't have flesh and blood. It was the lowest type. Its bone claws slapped toward Xiao Zhu. Qin just glanced and continued to drink. Bang! Xiao Zhu's body was sent flying. There was a bloody wound on her arm and blood flowed out. Xiao Zhu immediately got up and stared at the ancestor beast. The ancestor beast pounced for the second time. Bang! Xiao Zhu rolled a few feet away. She was no match for it at all. When she got up for the third time, her arms were already dripping with blood. "Focus," Qin said indifferently, "and calm your mind." Xiao Zhu took a deep breath and stared at the ancestor beast again. The ancestor beast continued to pounce towards her. She dodged to the side out of reflex. The ancestor beast's attack missed. Xiao Zhu's body staggered and retreated to the side, almost falling. Next, the human and the beast began to dodge and chase. After the 10th pounce, Xiao Zhu fell to the ground, her body covered in wounds. And from the beginning to the end, she didn't take the initiative to attack once. The gap between the two was too big. Xiao Zhu was exhausted and was about to be killed. Ziqin, who was sitting on the big rock, suddenly disappeared. The next moment, a rumble sounded. A huge crater appeared on the ground. Ziqin stood there, stepping on the ancestor beast. He didn't kill it. The ancestor beast kept struggling. Ziqin looked at the frightened Xiao Zhu and said, "Recover." Xiao Zhu nodded. She flipped over and stood up. After retreating 20 feet, she took out the light of law and began to refine it. After helping out at the inn on Rat Road Street for a while, she knew that the light of law could be disassembled and used. Refining the light of law, like she was doing now, was a very extravagant thing for the existence on that street. Ziqin stood up, carried the ancestor beast to the big rock on the side, and stepped on it again. Ziqin continued to drink. The next day, Xiao Zhu's wounds had mostly recovered. After all, with Ziqin looking after her, her wounds were all superficial and would recover in at most half a day. Ziqin also left the big rock, saying, "Let's continue." He carried the ancestor beast. The ancestor beast didn't dare to struggle. Xiao Zhu recovered as they moved forward. After half a day, her wounds were completely healed. Ziqin let go of the ancestor beast. The ancestor beast's first reaction was to run, but after Ziqin kicked it back, it attacked Xiao Zhu. Very quickly, Xiao Zhu was wounded again. Ziqin caught the ancestor beast again. The two people and one ancestor beast continued to move forward until they reached Old Yao's place and saw the people from that day. When they saw the two of them again, their expressions changed. Old Yao heard and immediately came out. "Greetings, sir." He quickly bowed to Ziqin. Not long after Ziqin entered the Pure Land, people came out to investigate him. He naturally told them everything he knew. Now that he saw Ziqin again, he was very nervous. He was afraid that the other party was here to settle the score. Ziqin waved his hand, saying, "We're only passing by, no need to be nervous." Old Yao looked at Xiao Zhu, then at the ancestor beast Ziqin was carrying, and quickly said, "Then we won't bother you, sir." Chapter 5235. Today was a bit uncomfortable. I'll update it tomorrow. Thunder Warrior has stopped updating for a day. It is currently in your hands. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 5236. After Ziqin and Xiao Zhu left, Old Yao stood there and looked at their backs with a sigh. When he went to the Pure Land, she was still a little black girl. He did not expect her to become a cultivator today. The aura emanating from the other party made him feel threatened. She was even stronger than his strongest subordinate. Different people have different fates. He sighed. Without a doubt, that little girl was very lucky to have met Ziqin. If Ziqin did not bring her to the Pure Land, she would have ended up in a miserable state. Miserable, very miserable. At the very least, Old Yao would not let her go. However, Ziqin had brought her to the Pure Land, which caused Old Yao to have misgivings. He didn't even dare to kill the other guy who led the way, because no one knew what the future would be like. As expected, people from the Pure Land soon came to inquire about Ziqin's matter. The fact that he was still alive was enough to prove that those who investigated him did not dare to target him. Ziqin and Xiao Zhu continued to walk forward. Xiao Zhu was also walking and stopping, constantly adjusting her body to fight with the ancestor beast. Although it was called a fight, it was actually dodging, until Xiao Zhu had the ability to completely dodge the ancestor beast's attack. As for killing it, she could not do it yet. At this point, Ziqin let go of the ancestor beast. and it immediately fled. Next, Xiao Zhu walked in front while he followed behind. They were about 10,000 feet apart. She had to face the ancestor beast alone. Just as Ziqin brought Xiao Zhu to train, a large group of mantis demons came. After they arrived at the wasteland, they scattered and went to the few pure lands nearby. Swish! Swish! Xiao Zhu was very agile and dodged the ancestor beast's attack again and again. Ziqin watched from afar. When Xiao Zhu was exhausted, he sent the ancestor beast flying. After that, Xiao Zhu began to recover at full speed. Another 7 days passed. Ziqin brought Xiao Zhu back. When they passed by Old Yao's residence, they found that it had collapsed. Some bones were scattered on the ground. They did not know if Old Yao's bones were among them. What happened? Xiao Zhu tilted her head and looked around. Ziqin extended his soul power, but he didn't sense any life fluctuations. Suddenly, Ziqin stomped his feet. Buzz! The earth trembled as a person emerged from the ground. "My lord, save me!" When the other party came out and saw Ziqin, he began to wail. It was Old Yao. What happened? Ziqin asked. It's the mantis demons. They seem to have gone mad. Everywhere they go, not a single one is left behind. Back then, Old Yao's men were all dead, while Old Yao was lucky enough to escape. He then burrowed deep into the ground to avoid detection. Hearing Old Yao's words, Ziqin's expression changed. Could the hybrid demons have suddenly come here for him? Go. Return to the Pure Land immediately. If those Yimo were truly here for him, he would be in trouble. He grabbed Xiao Zhu with his left hand and Old Yao with his right as he leaped forward. A Dharma Annihilation Realm expert would not be able to fly in this place. This was because the laws here were stronger and the pressure between heaven and earth was greater. It was said that they had to be stronger before they could break free from the restraints of the pressure. However, such speed still opened Old Yao's eyes. Not long after, Old Yao saw the entrance to the Pure Land. The guards here had long disappeared. People kept rushing out with faces full of fear. Something had indeed happened. Ziqin's face darkened. After putting down the two of them, he said, "The two of you stay here." After saying that, Ziqin entered the Pure Land. He released his aura, and wherever he passed, the people who were fleeing in panic all avoided him. After entering the Pure Land, there were battles everywhere. Ziqin, the hybrid demons, have invaded. As soon as Ziqin arrived, he was sensed by Okon, and his shout sounded. Ziqin released his soul remembrance and went straight into the depths. The battle there was the most intense, and many people had already fallen to the ground. Moreover, the number of hybrid demons that had arrived was more than 200, far exceeding Ziqin's expectations. So many hybrid demons were here for him? You're courting death. Ziqin shouted angrily, attracting everyone's attention. After hearing Ziqin's voice, Wei Luo Haidan and the others were all extremely excited. Obviously, with Ziqin's return, they had hope. Ziqin was like a ray of light as he went straight into the depths. During this time, light would fly out from his body from time to time. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Like arrows, they accurately flew towards the mantis demons and pierced into their bodies. Among these 200 hybrid demons, more than half were below the law destruction realm, and these existences couldn't even block a single blow from Ziqin. As the light pierced through their bodies, the hybrid demons fell one after another. In the blink of an eye, dozens of hybrid demons were killed. Kill him! An explosive shout came from the depths. 2 hybrid demons at the first level of the law destruction realm charged towards Ziqin. Ziqin didn't slow down and passed by the 2 of them. During this time, the light flashed and shot in all directions. Pooh! Pooh! Ziqin charged into the depths of the Pure Land, and the 2 of them fell to the ground dead. In the depths, there was a 3rd level law destruction realm hybrid demon. He swept a cold glance at Ziqin Die. Beside him, a second stage realm cultivator charged out. Facing the charging opponent, Zi-Chun punched out. This punch, it directly affected the Pure Land. The Pure Land shook. Boom! A powerful shockwave spread out, and the nearby buildings instantly collapsed, forming waves of air waves. Smoke and dust billowed in all directions. That second stage law destruction realm cultivator flew out from the thick smoke. When he landed on the ground, he crashed into a building. The next moment, he charged out from it, and his heart was releasing a bright light. That was the core of the hybrid demon's power. After it was activated, his aura soared once again, and a terrifying pressure stirred the surroundings. Zi-Chun narrowed his eyes, and his figure instantly disappeared. The next moment, he was right in front of the hybrid demon. Another punch struck out. Boom! The Pure Land shook, and the second stage hybrid demon flew out again. The core of his power was directly shattered by Zi-Chun's punch. After struggling for a while, the other party fell to the ground and stopped moving. He was dead. Back then, Zi-Chun needed the help of the slaughter spirit to kill the second stage hybrid demon. Now that he had broken through, just his fist was enough. Okon, who was covered in blood, looked at Zi-Chun with an agitated expression. That third stage realm cultivator glanced at Okon indifferently and then walked towards Zi-Chun. As he moved forward, the core of his power started to glow. The Pure Land collapsed with his step and started to tremble, as if it was going to collapse. You're not bad. The third stage hybrid demon said coldly, but this is the end. His aura was completely released, and it became exceptionally terrifying. This first-level Pure Land seemed to have signs of collapsing. At such a close distance, Zi-Chun could feel the other party's power. Boom! The energy went berserk, and the third stage hybrid demon punched down. Chapter 52:37. Boom! Zi-Chun was smashed into a building. When Okon saw this from afar, his expression immediately changed. Was he no match for him? Zi-Chun walked out of the billowing smoke and dust. He looked at the triple hybrid demon in front of him and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The triple hybrid demon laughed sinisterly and charged at Zi-Chun again. Hum! His power core released a terrifying aura. Zi-Chun sneered. He waved his hand forward. Hum! A Dharma seal suddenly appeared in his palm. The Dharma seal quickly enlarged and shone with light as it spun in front of him. In the next moment, a fist light flew out from the Dharma seal and headed straight for the triple hybrid demon in front of him. This is the seal of a Dharma array. In the distance, Okon immediately exclaimed when he saw this. Back then, Zi-Chun had displayed such a method when he was in the spiritual spell realm. However, because his realm was too low, he did not succeed. Now that he had the power core, he could use this method. The triple hybrid demon roared and punched down again. The two fist lights met in front of him and exploded with a bang. Zi-Chun's body retreated, and the Dharma seal in front of him disappeared. He was not disappointed. Instead, there was a hint of joy on his face. So this was the seal of a Dharma array. If that was the case, he had almost 100 ways to exhaust his opponent to death. The light in his hand changed, and a second seal appeared. As the Dharma seal enlarged, angry roars sounded and tigers rushed out one after another. There were dozens of them. This was the inheritance of the divine sigil that Zi-Chun had obtained back then. He had never used it. He did not expect that it would reappear here with terrifying power. And this was because the Tao sword was not by his side. Otherwise, the methods he could use would be even more powerful. This time, Zi-Chun only brought the slaughter spirit to the immortal spell world. After the tigers, there were sword lights. Countless sword lights shot towards the other party. Then there were flames, hailstones, and all kinds of other attacks. In the distance, Okon was dumbfounded. Here, mastering one Dharma seal was already very powerful. but Zi-chun had displayed dozens of them. Was this the method of someone from the upper realm? He was stunned. All sorts of seals were shattered by the triple Yimo's fists one after another. However, Zi-chun continued to fight as he retreated. From his relaxed expression, it was obvious that he was using his opponent as a sparring partner. This kind of battle consumed a lot of Zi-chun's energy. After familiarizing himself with the Dharma seal, Zi-chun no longer retreated. He stopped and looked at the triple Yimo. The triple Yimo roared and charged towards Zi-chun. There's no need for too many Dharma seals. Just focus on the essence. With that, a Dharma array appeared beneath Zi-chun's feet. Buzz! The formation rotated and expanded. The power from the Pure Land continued to converge into the formation. This method was similar to forcibly plundering. Streaks of light gushed out from the spirit formation like snakes and entered Zi-chun's body. Zi-chun's aura began to surge. This was called the amplification technique, but it could also be called the spirit gathering technique. He clenched his hand into a fist and gathered all his power into it. He clashed head-on with the threefold Yimo. Boom! Waves of air swept out. The Dharma array beneath Zi-chun's feet distorted several times before disappearing. Several cracks appeared under his feet. However, Zi-chun stood there without retreating a single step. He blocked the triple Yimo's attack. The Yimo used the force to retreat. He stood on a roof and stared coldly at Zi-chun. He naturally knew about the Dharma seal. It was very difficult to deal with. Usually, the spirit clan only had one or two types. However, the person in front of him had many types. The triple Yimo did not dare to be careless. Behind him, the space distorted and a tall demonic shadow appeared. As soon as the demonic shadow appeared, the pressure on the Pure Land increased. The surrounding space was distorting. This time you must die. Zi-chun's expression froze. He did not dare to be careless. Buzz! The amplification array from before appeared once again under his feet. The spiritual energy between heaven and earth gathered crazily here. In Okon's perception, Zi-chun seemed to have turned into a black hole at this moment, constantly devouring the spiritual energy in the Pure Land. At the edge of the Pure Land, some places had already begun to collapse and dissipate. If this situation continued, the Pure Land would disintegrate on its own before the other party could destroy it. Die. The Yimo stomped his feet and the house shattered. He used the force to dive down. The demonic shadow behind him did the same. Zi-chun narrowed his eyes and punched out. The power from the Dharma array was all gathered. Buzz! Immediately after, another Dharma array appeared in front of Zi-chun's fist. It was still an amplification array. However, this time it was an increase in attack power. As soon as the two amplification arrays appeared, the power of Zi-chun's punch was magnified infinitely. Boom! A thunderous explosion resounded. Zi-chun's two Dharma arrays instantly collapsed. The powerful force caused his body to slide backward. In front of him, the triple Yimo was hit by the powerful force and flew backward. As he flew backward, the bones in his arm made a crisp sound. The demonic shadow behind him also disappeared after twisting a few times. Dozens of feet away, Zi-chun stabilized his body and his face turned pale. These few attacks had consumed a lot of energy. Fortunately, most of the power of the Dharma array was drawn from the Pure Land. If he used his own, he wouldn't have been able to withstand the first attack. This was also why those below the Annihilation Realm couldn't activate the Dharma array, because the consumption was too great. Boom! Another explosion sounded in front of him. The triple Yimo smashed down a building. However, immediately after, he roared and rushed out. Zi-chun glanced at him and said, "It's about time." He already had an understanding of Dharma arrays. This sparring partner could die. As soon as he finished speaking, A light flew out like a bolt of lightning and headed straight for the Triple Yimo. It was the spirit of massacre. The Triple Yimo's body flickered with demonic light, forming a defense. Before coming, he knew that the other party had such a method, so he was prepared in advance. Unfortunately, it was useless. Buzz. In front of the spirit of massacre, another Dharma array suddenly appeared. Whoosh! As the spirit of massacre passed through the Dharma array, its speed increased by almost 1/3. Puff! Before the Triple Yimo's defense could be formed, the spirit of massacre had already arrived in front of him and pierced through his eye. It flew out from the back of his head. The Triple Yimo stopped moving and stared at Zichen with a single eye. The entire Pure Land fell silent in an instant. Swoosh! The spirit of massacre returned to Zichen's side. Boom! The Triple Yimo's body fell again. This time he was completely dead. The surroundings were in an uproar, followed by waves of cheers. Amidst the cheers, the Yimo began to flee. Zichen didn't continue to kill him, mainly because he had consumed a lot of energy this time. At the same time, the Dharma Array seal brought him quite a surprise. The inheritance of the divine rune Tao that he had obtained back then was like cheating here today. Okon also walked over. This time, the crisis was resolved. He was very emotional and glad. Why are there so many people here? Zichen looked at Okon. Okon shook his head and said, I'm not sure either, but they are here for this Pure Land. At first, he thought that they were here for Zichen, but soon he realized that wasn't the case. After entering the Pure Land, they went straight into the depths. During this time, the others seemed to be looking for something. What are they looking for? Hearing Okon's explanation, Zichen was also very confused. Last time, the middle-aged man didn't even care about the level 3 Pure Land. It seemed that he was looking for something. This time the Yimo was the same. Okon said helplessly, I'm not sure either. Looking at this Pure Land, there is only one place that is strange, but there is nothing there. Where is it strange? Zichen asked. In fact, he had already guessed it. Okon had brought him to all the places except for the place that emitted a special aura. Let's go, I'll take you there. The aura there is a little different, but there is nothing special at all. Okon brought Zichen there directly. He no longer held any hope for this Pure Land. When they arrived at the place, Okon pointed ahead and said, Look, this is the place. Not a single blade of grass grows. In front of them was an area with a radius of 10 feet. There was some grass growing around it, but there was nothing in this area. Zichen walked forward and arrived at the empty land. Chapter 5238. When Zichen walked into this piece of empty land, he sensed an unusual aura. Others might not be able to sense this aura, but he could. It could be said that in the entire wasteland, only Zichen alone could sense the abnormality in this place. This was the aura of the 10,000 spirit realm. The so-called otherworld was actually the 10,000 spirit realm which Zichen existed in. You know. Okon looked at Zichen in shock. Zichen pointed to his feet and said, The place they are looking for is here. Okon was extremely shocked. But there's nothing here? I've checked numerous times. Zichen nodded. I'm very sure. Okon's face instantly turned pale. You mean that the middle-aged man who destroyed the Pure Land and the Mantis demons this time were all looking for this place? Most probably. Then what should we do? This piece of Pure Land will definitely not be able to be protected. Okon looked at Zichen and said, Why not? I give you the Pure Land. Give me? Zichen was stunned, not expecting Okon to say this. No matter what's inside, I will definitely not be able to protect it. Okon said helplessly, According to my character in the past, if I knew this place had become the target of public criticism, I would definitely run away. If I give it to you, I'll see if there's any chance. If not, I'll still run. This time, a third-stage realm cultivator came and was killed by Zichen. What if a fourth stage realm cultivator came tomorrow? Or a fifth stage realm cultivator? Zichin was, after all, a first stage Dharma annihilation cultivator, so no matter how strong his battle power was, there was a limit. Okon also guessed that there might be some good stuff here, but one had to be alive to get it right. Zichen seriously thought about it and said, "It's also good to transfer the Pure Land to me." Okon asked, "Do you have a way to guard this place?" "No." Zichen shook his head, "But I will use my life to guard this place. Unless I die in battle, otherwise I will not let anything happen to this piece of Pure Land." Okon was shocked. "Why?" Zichen pointed at his feet. "Because this place is very important to me. In other words, it is extremely important to all of the spirit race." Okon shook his head in confusion. Zichen said, "Give me the Pure Land first. If I can defend this place, I will give you a level 2 or 3 Pure Land in the future." Okon's eyes lit up. "Really?" Zichen smiled. "That's on the premise that I'm still alive." Without hesitation, Okon took out the core of the Pure Land and handed it to Zichen. It was a gem-like object with the core rules of the Pure Land inside. After Okon removed the ownership, it was like a sun. Zichen took the core rule and sent a stream of energy into it. He began to refine it. The core emitted a dazzling light. Then, a scene that shocked Okon occurred. The core of the Pure Land was easily refined by Zichen as if it had returned to its rightful owner. So that's how it is. After the core of the Pure Land recognized him as its owner, Zichen had a further understanding of this place. He finally understood why he appeared in this area. Because this was the real entrance to the 10,000 spirit realm. The core of the Pure Land disappeared from Zichen's side. At this moment, this Pure Land was already under Zichen's control. At this moment, the energy between heaven and earth suddenly became rich. A wind blew. In the sky it suddenly rained. The raindrops fell and smashed on the ground of the Pure Land. It was as if vitality was nourishing this world and vegetation grew. In the Pure Land, everyone was bathed in the raindrops. At this moment, they felt refreshed as if they had washed away the dust. Their strength was recovering. There were even some people who silently broke through to the next realm. As a Dharma extermination realm cultivator, Okon's perception was the sharpest. At this moment, he felt a surging vitality coming from beyond the sky. It went straight into the Pure Land. The grade of the Pure Land was increasing. How is this possible? Okon said with a shocked face, "Legend has it that only those extremely special Pure Lands can increase their grade. My Pure Land has always been very ordinary. How is this possible?" This Pure Land had stayed with him for many years, but it had never advanced. But in Zichen's hands, it was just a process of recognizing him as its owner, and the Pure Land was about to advance. It was obvious that the Pure Land was ordinary, and the Pure Land was not ordinary. In addition to being shocked, he became more and more curious about Zichen's identity. What kind of person could actually help the Pure Land increase its grade? One had to know that under normal circumstances, it was them who borrowed the power of the Pure Land to break through. But this time, it was the Pure Land that broke through because of Zichen. The changes in the Pure Land were still happening. Zichen looked at Okon and said, "After this crisis is resolved, you can choose a street." Back then, Okon said the same thing to Zichen. Now, the two of them had exchanged identities. Okon said, "Let's hope so." Zichen patted Okon's shoulder and said, "If everything goes well, the benefits of your street in the future will not be inferior to the original Pure Land." Okon smiled, but he was not optimistic about Zichen or this place, even if this Pure Land had advanced. Otherwise, he would not have given the Pure Land to Zichen. At the moment, he was no longer the master of the Pure Land, but he was also very relaxed. Once there was danger, he could turn around and run. Originally, in the depths of the Pure Land, it was Okon's women who lived there. But after the crisis appeared, they all ran away, so there was no need to make room. But now that the crisis had not been resolved, Zi-chan was not in the mood to rebuild here. He had a lot of experience in building worlds. In addition, he also mastered the Tao of divine runes. He could casually choose a formation from there, and it was stronger than the one here. Rebuilding needed a foundation. The foundation needed a formation. So after everything went smoothly, Zi-chan planned to destroy this place personally and then reorganize. Then he would use this place as a base camp. With a plan for the future, Zi-chan suddenly had a new worry. It was said that after immortal spirits died in battle, they would turn into a pure land. And this place was related to the 10,000 spirit world. Was it left behind by Gushan? In other words, did Gushan die in battle and turn into this pure land? Zi-chan did not dare to think deeper. He only hoped that this guess was wrong. After all, Gushan was the true #1 person in the past. After countless years, the 10,000 spirit world only had a second Zi-chan. The Yimo fled in defeat. They were incomparably terrified. After escaping from the Pure Land, they did not kill the spirit race people, but ran away crazily. Little Bamboo and Old Yao hid in the distance. Seeing all the hybrid demons flee, Old Yao excitedly shouted, It must be him!" He resolved the crisis. Little Bamboo nodded. This was very likely. With the crisis resolved, everyone planned to return to the Pure Land. After all, if they stayed outside, they would only die. But just as they reached the door, the guards came out. Before, they ran the fastest, and now they came back quickly. Everyone, 300 Dao light. The guard immediately shouted. This was the price set by Okon. Do we want it too? Old Yao said, We came back with Sir. The guard waved his hand and Old Yao staggered. Just as he was about to kick him a few more times, he saw Little Bamboo. The guard was slightly stunned, then quickly waved his hand and said, You go first. He knew Little Bamboo. He saw Sir Zi-chan take her away with his own eyes. He naturally did not dare to charge. Chapter 5239. The news spread like wildfire. Everyone was stunned. The new master of the Pure Land? Could it be that the Pure Land had a new master? Old Yao glanced at Xiao Zhu. Master has become the master of the Pure Land. Xiao Zhu nodded. There was no need to guess. Old Yao immediately became excited. This could be considered as hugging an amazing thigh. There was no need to pay the entrance fee. Everyone filed in. Xiao Zhu came to Rat Road Street and did not see Zi-chan here. Old Yao kept following her. Why don't we go deeper to look? Xiao Zhu shook her head. This Rat Road Street belongs to Master. We can just wait here. The entire Pure Land belongs to Master now. Master might not return here. Old Yao said, Let's go find Master now. Xiao Zhu shook her head again. Since Xiao Zhu did not go, Old Yao naturally did not dare to go alone. In fact, this was an excellent opportunity to increase his prestige. Unfortunately, this silly girl did not understand the ways of the world. At this moment, all the experts of this Pure Land must be gathered in the depths. If the two of them went, they would naturally be able to show their status. Even if their realm was not high, with a powerhouse like Zi-chan behind them, who would dare to provoke them in the future? However, Old Yao also knew that he could not be impatient. He had to take it slowly. At this moment, everyone was indeed in the depths. The survivors gathered there to see the new master of the Pure Land. Okon stood beside Zi-chan. Zi-chan said, Although the fiends have escaped, they will definitely attack. I have already decided to live and die with this Pure Land. When everyone heard this, they all looked at each other. Zi-chan said again, Spread this news. If those people want to leave, this is a rare opportunity. Tell everyone the truth. I am not confident that I can defend this place this time. Everyone retreated with apprehension. Zi-chan went to the depths, to that special place. He began to study this place. Ocone and the rest walked outside and truthfully reported the situation here. Hearing that the fiends would come again, many people who had just entered immediately retreated. After that, the news spread and many people chose to leave. Nothing was more important than one's own life. Ocone watched this scene in silence. He had never thought that his pure land would be reduced to such a state. To be honest, he was not optimistic about Zi-chan at the moment. After all, the hybrid demons were not a single person, but an entire race. Everyone left one after another. Those who had some resources on them were thinking about how to develop in the next Pure Land. "Sir, what should we do?" Surrounding Luo looked at Ocone. Ocone said, "I will stay for the time being. You can do whatever you want." Wei Luo said, "Then I will stay too." The group of experts did not leave. Not long after, someone suddenly ran back. "Not good. The nearby Pure Lands have been taken over by the Mantis demons." When Ocone heard these exclamations, he was stunned. The expressions of Wei Luo and the others were also very ugly. At first, he was thinking of going to the nearby Pure Land to seek shelter. But now, it seemed that he couldn't do so. "We have a level 3 Pure Land here. Could it be that it was also occupied?" Wei Luo was in disbelief. "You guys go and ask." "I will go and find Zi-chan." Ocone turned around and went deeper into the Pure Land. Wei Luo and the others inquired about the news from those who had returned. When Ocone reached the depths, Zi-chan was sitting in an open area, deep in thought. "Zi-chan, not good. The nearby Pure Land has been taken over by the hybrid demons." Zi-chan turned his head and looked at Ocone. "Are you sure?" Ocone nodded and told the people who had left not long ago that they had all returned, because the refugees were all coming here. It seems that this time it is completely troublesome. Zi-chan frowned. The hybrid demons are determined to take over this place. If they send a powerful existence, it will be over. Now, Zi-chan was very sure that this was the entrance to the 10,000 spirit realm. Perhaps it was the only entrance and exit left in this wasteland. Now, not only did they not run away, they are coming one by one. Ocone said, "You have to think of a way." Zi-chan shook his head and said, "If a 9th level Dharma destroyer comes, it will be useless. In front of absolute combat strength, everything is futile. Then what should we do?" Ocone was a little anxious. "Are we going to give up on this place?" "Let's take a look first." Zi-chan suddenly said, "Do you know what forces are in this Pure Land and what are the restrictions?" Ocone shook his head, indicating that he did not know. The largest Pure Land nearby was a 3rd level Pure Land. He had only been there a few times. "Then we will deal with it as it comes." Zi-chan walked outside. If the hybrid demons were determined to take over this place, they would definitely send stronger experts. As he walked outside, Zi-chan was also thinking about his own combat strength. With the help of the slaughter spirit and the seal of the array, he could kill a 3rd level hybrid demon. Under such circumstances, it should not be a problem to fight a 4th level hybrid demon. If a 5th level hybrid demon came, then there was no need to think about it. If it was higher than the 5th level, it would be a dead end. When Zi-chan walked out, he released his soul power. He saw many people rushing over here. They were all people from the nearby Pure Land. Wei Luo and the others returned after inquiring about the news. After seeing Zi-chan, Wei Luo immediately cupped his fists and said, "Sir, it has been confirmed that the 5 Pure Lands nearby have all been occupied by the hybrid demons." Zi-chan nodded and continued forward. But after taking a few steps, he suddenly turned around and said, "Inform everyone that from today onwards, the price of all accommodation will be reduced by half." Yes, the few of them were stunned at first, then quickly nodded. The current Zi-chan was the master of the Pure Land. Everything here was naturally decided by him, and the purpose of doing this was to let more people live. Zi-chan walked out of the Pure Land and stood at the entrance. Ocone stood behind Zi-chan. There were still guards here, but they no longer charged fees. When they saw Zichen come out, they hurriedly bowed. Zichen waved his hand and said, "Go inside, there's no need to guard here." The few of them immediately cupped their fists and nodded, entering the Pure Land. Zichen stood in the middle. All the refugees who entered the Pure Land took the initiative to take a detour and entered from the sides. Even if they entered the Pure Land, they were still worried because this place might not be able to be saved. If it was also occupied, then there would be no place for them to live. Zichen's gaze looked into the distance. He did not expect to encounter such trouble not long after coming here. As far as his eyes could see, a black dot appeared on the horizon. Zichen immediately released his soul power. The black dot was a person who was moving forward, and behind him there were more than a dozen people. They were all hybrid demons. They came again. However, what made Zichen slightly relieved was that the hybrid demon in the lead was not the kind of powerhouse who could reach the heavens. Perhaps he still had the strength to fight. Chapter 5240. The hybrid demon neared and stopped 100 feet away. He looked at Zichen in front of him. Behind him, many hybrid demons stood there with cold eyes. Zichen didn't say a word as he looked at the other party silently. Behind Zichen, Okon, and the rest were extremely nervous. "Leave this place quickly, and I can spare your life." The leader of the hybrid demons was the first to speak, and his voice was cold. Zichen said, "Bring it on if you have the ability." He hooked his finger at the other party, and this action was extremely provocative. Zichen, who was originally worried, relaxed when he heard the other party's words. If the other party had the ability, he would attack directly and not talk nonsense. This kind of situation usually meant fear. "What did you say?" The other party's eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Do you dare to say it again?" A tyrannical aura swept over from the front. "Fifth stage realm." Okon's exclamation could be heard from behind. Feeling this aura, his expression changed drastically. This kind of existence could crush him to death with just one finger. However, in the face of this aura, Zichen only released the aura of a first stage realm. A light appeared and blocked this aura. The other party said disdainfully, "Just a first stage realm, and you dare to stop me. Do you want to die?" Zichen said indifferently, "Come over and talk to me." As he spoke, Zichen took 2 steps back. "Are you afraid?" The other party's face was filled with sarcasm. "You can say that." Zichen's voice was still calm. The fifth stage realm's expression was extremely ugly. According to the information he received, this Pure Land belonged to someone else. But now it was obvious that the Pure Land had changed owners. The other party could kill a third stage realm without the help of the Pure Land. Now that he had the help of the Pure Land, how strong would his battle power be? Moreover, it was the first time he had seen such a strong spirit clan. "Since you're looking for death, then don't blame me for not being courteous." The fifth stage realm's feet tapped, and his body flew into the air for a short while as he charged toward Zichen. In midair, he punched out. Wong! Energy vibrated as the pitch-black fist radiance headed straight for Zichen. Zichen raised his hand, and a light seal flew out. The first formation seal enlarged in front of him and rotated in midair. The patterns intersected and flickered with bright light. The fist aura instantly passed through the first one without any resistance. Then the second seal appeared. Then came the third one. Zichen instantly displayed 3 array seals, all of which contained the power of weakening. Regardless of his strength, just his speed alone was extraordinary. The fiend's powerful fist light pierced through the 3 seals and landed on Zichen's body. Boom! As the fist radiance dispersed, Zichen retreated all the way to the entrance of the Pure Land. Okon and the others watched this scene nervously. Zichen waved his hand. He was unscathed. Just based on the power of the array, it was able to block off a 5th stage realm power. The fifth stage realm cultivator's pupils contracted abruptly as he was in disbelief. If he used the power of the Pure Land, wouldn't he be even stronger? Zi-Chin took a deep breath and waved his hand at him again. The fifth stage realm cultivator could use the power of the Pure Land to fight. To be able to block my fist, no wonder you're so arrogant. The other party sneered, but if you think that you can make us retreat like this, then you're thinking too much. Zi-Chin said, Why? Will you send out stronger people? The other party said disdainfully, Just based on you, are you worthy of us sending stronger people? He pointed at his feet and said, We Yimo aren't the only Yimo in this place. I'll give you one more chance. Retreat immediately and give up this piece of land. Then I can spare all of you and everyone behind you. When this sentence was said, many people's eyes were filled with anticipation. It would be great if they could live. Zi-Chen sneered. Leaving the Pure Land means death. If we stay, we still have a chance. Why should we leave? I'm not sure if you'll die if you leave. But if you stay, you'll definitely die. The other party's tone was cold. Bring it on if you have the ability. Zi-Chin said coldly. It was still the same sentence. You'll regret it. After saying that, the other party turned and left. This was out of Zi-Chen's expectations. But then the other party's voice rang out. Next, I'll show you what despair is. If you want to run, hurry up and run. If you're late, you won't have the chance. All the fiends retreated. Zi-Chin turned to look at Okone with a questioning look. Okone shook his head and said, I don't know. I've only seen the fiends a few times. During this period of time, his knowledge had far surpassed the past. The fiends had left. At least the current danger was gone. Zi-Chan returned to the depths of the Pure Land and continued to study the place. After the fiends returned, they told him about the confrontation with Zi-Chin. Such a talent has appeared in the spirit tribe. The fiend said with a black face, It's a pity that there are people from the Pure Land Alliance. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so troublesome. I can kill him with a slap. The Tier 5 fiend asked, Sir, what should we do now? Go and find those bastards. Tell them that we'll give them an undeveloped third grade Devil Land if we take down the Pure Land. When the Tier 5 fiend heard this, he was shocked. Isn't that too much? Whether it's too much or not, it depends on whether they can take it down. Yes. Not long after, Aokong came again. Moreover, he had a panicked expression as he informed Zi-Chin that many ancestral beasts had arrived outside. It seemed that they were going to besiege this place. When Zi-Chan heard this, he immediately got up and rushed towards the entrance. As expected, he saw many ancestor beasts. Their realms weren't high, but they had the advantage in numbers. They were closing in. Seems like this is the method that the fiends are talking about. When Zi-Chin saw this, he wasn't shocked. Instead, he laughed. After knowing the other party's method, he wasn't worried. You can still laugh? These ancestor beasts are endless. We'll be exhausted here. Okone said helplessly, Furthermore, once they attack in, there won't be any survivors here. Zi-Chin said, Then guard here. As for the rest, I'll think of a way. Hence, the Tier 1 Annihilation Okone was forcefully left here. Other than this, there was also Wei Luo and the rest who were guarding here. Zi-Chan returned to that open area once again. Very clearly, this was the place that led to the myriad spirit world. But Zi-Chin didn't know how to open it. Now that the ancestor beasts had surrounded this place, to break the situation, he had to find more powerhouses. The myriad spirit world was the most suitable place. Zi-Chen started to think about the inheritance of the Tao of divine marks that he grasped, to see if there was anything similar. A moment later, a divine mark called Spirit Guidance appeared in his mind. This was a kind of guiding divine mark. Perhaps he could give it a try. Moving as he said, Zi-Chen started to form seals. At the same time, outside the Pure Land, the ancestor beasts launched an attack. A great battle broke out. Spirit guidance appeared in front of him, forming a complicated and mysterious pattern, releasing infinite light. In the next moment, the spirit guidance formation disappeared, turning into countless light spots scattering in this open area like raindrops. As this place was washed by the spiritual light, traces appeared on the ground. Chapter 52:41. As the spirit power washed over, a large array pattern appeared on the open space. It was a teleportation array. Zi Chen's eyes lit up, and a hint of ecstasy appeared. If he could successfully connect the two realms, with the accumulation of the 10,000 spirit realm over the years, dealing with those ancestral beasts outside would be as easy as cutting vegetables. Zi Chen tried to send a stream of power into it, and the teleportation array in front of him immediately lit up. In the lawbreaker realm, the woman who appeared from the Black Tower had been staying beside the teleportation channel. Almost every day she would try it. Naturally, she was blocked every time. So, she sat there and cursed at Zichen. When she was tired of cursing, she would rest. The next day, she would continue. She did this repeatedly. As time passed, no one came here anymore, because if she was in a bad mood, she would scold the people next to her. On this day, the woman walked towards the teleportation channel as usual. She was already used to failing again and again, but this time she was not bounced back. She disappeared. There was no more woman beside the teleportation channel. In front of Zichen, light circulated, and Zichen activated the teleportation array. Suddenly, light flickered in front of him, and a person appeared. In the light and shadow, the other party's figure was curvaceous. It was obviously a woman. Zichen was slightly stunned. What was going on? The next moment, the light disappeared and the woman appeared. "It's you." Zichen looked at the woman. When the woman saw Zichen, her eyes were spitting fire. "It's you." She stepped forward and grabbed Zichen's neck. "What are you doing?" Zichen hurriedly shouted. "Why did you block me in the lawbreaker realm?" The woman looked at Zichen resentfully. "Do you know how many years I have waited for this day?" "This is a misunderstanding." Zichen's voice was a little hoarse, his face was red, and his breathing was uneven. "This is not a misunderstanding. You did it on purpose," the woman said angrily. "Back then, you didn't want to come up. If I hadn't urged you, you would have waited for many years. Gashan is dead." Seeing that the other party was still unwilling to give up, Zichen shouted again. "What?" The woman was stunned and stopped exerting her strength. Zichen hurriedly broke free and took a few steps back. "I'm not too sure if Gashan is dead or not, but this might not be the immortal techniques world." "What?" The woman was stunned again. Then, Zichen quickly and succinctly explained the situation. "I'm very busy right now, so I don't have time to tell you the details. In short, we're in trouble. If we can't handle this crisis, the next passage will be closed again." The woman stood there in a daze. She didn't hear what Zichen was saying. In her mind, there were only 4 words. Gashan was dead. Zichen allowed him to stand there in a daze. He stepped forward and entered the teleportation array. In the next moment, all the power in the Pure Land began to converge. Zichen disappeared. When he reappeared, he was back in the lawbreaker realm. The surroundings were very quiet. There was no one around. Zichen was slightly taken aback. What's going on? In the next instant, he extended his soul power and sensed a familiar aura. "Everyone, come over here." When everyone heard this voice, they were all stunned, thinking that they were hallucinating. But then they sensed Zichen's aura. One by one, they rushed over. "Young master, why are you back?" Miao Miao was the first to appear. She looked around. "Where's Ling Yu?" That woman was called Ling Yu. She went up. Zichen pointed up. "So the passage is open again." "Miao Miao, looked at Zi-chun with a hint of doubt in her eyes. Zi-chun didn't have time to explain. He extended his soul power and said, "All 9 Forces realm cultivators, come over!" Following his words, several figures of light flew in his direction. After seeing Zi-chun, their eyes were filled with surprise. "Everyone immediately follow me up to fight. As for the other matters, I'll explain them to you when we get up." After Zi-chun finished speaking, he took the lead and entered the teleportation array again. At the entrance of the Pure Land, Okon and the others were dealing with the attacks of the ancestral beasts. Fortunately, the entrance wasn't big. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to stop it with just them. For many years, Okon had never thought of developing his own faction, so there weren't many spiritual techniques in this Pure Land. In addition, many people had died in the 2 battles, so they were obviously lacking in manpower. Suddenly, a strong wind blew over. Okon saw a white light rushing out from the Pure Land. Boom! The white light rushed into the group of ancestral beasts and exploded. In an instant, the ancestral beasts were sent flying. Some fell to the ground and fell apart. Lingyu looked at the ancestral beasts around her and those ugly skeletons. She stood there alone in a daze. It was indeed different. Okon was shocked. When did such an existence appear in his Pure Land? After a brief moment of chaos, the surrounding ancestral beasts immediately charged towards Lingyu again. Lingyu stood there without moving, but with her as the center, the surrounding space seemed to have frozen. All the ancestral beasts that were charging forward instantly stopped there. Okon and the others were completely stunned. What kind of terrifying method was this? In addition to the shock, they were also confused at this moment. Who exactly was this powerful existence? At this moment, suddenly another powerful aura appeared from behind. Wei Luo and the others subconsciously turned their heads. They saw a group of people coming forward. The leader was a bald man wearing strange clothes. He held a large saber in his hand and shouted as he rushed forward, "Immortal Spell World, Lord Buddha is here!" He released his aura, which was only at the 9th level of spiritual technique, but it gave people a sense of danger. Wei Luo and the others' perception was even more vivid, as if they saw Zi-chun back then. The monk rushed out and slashed forward with his large saber. Buzz! The saber arc extended forward and split all the ancestral beasts on a flat surface into 2. "Haha!" the monk laughed and rushed out. Then the devil ape and the others followed and also rushed out of the Pure Land and rushed towards those ancestral beasts. My lord, this! Wei Luo and the others were completely stunned. Since when were there so many strong cultivators in their Pure Land? Moreover, each of them was at the 9th level of spiritual technique. Where did they come from? Okon swallowed his saliva. He thought of Zi-chun and that place. Could it be that Zi-chun opened the world within a world? After the devil ape and the others rushed out, Su Mengyao and the others were next. They were all female cultivators. Each of them was unparalleled in beauty. Standing together, it was definitely a beautiful scenery. They also joined the battlefield. Then Wei Luo and the others were shocked to find that these beauties were also at the 9th level of spiritual technique, and their combat strength was not weaker than those people in front. The battle had nothing to do with them anymore, because there was an endless stream of 9th level spiritual technique appearing from the depths of the Pure Land. "My lord, what is going on?" Wei Luo asked again. Okon suddenly reacted and said excitedly, "I have a street." Ah, Wei Luo was stunned. Hayden and the others were also confused. What was this? Zi-chun said that he would give me a street. Huh. Chapter 5242. Wei Luo and the others were still in shock, and Okon's focus at this moment had long shifted from the ancestor beast crisis to the future street. Once these people settled down here, the future of this Pure Land could be imagined. There would be no suspense in the battle outside the Pure Land. The ancestor beast was caught off guard by the continuous surge of ninth-level spirit spells. Looking at the withered bones after they died, the existences who came here for the first time were very shocked. The ancestor beast was also intelligent. After seeing this scene, it directly retreated, because if it stayed any longer, more would die. As soon as the ancestor beast retreated, Monk and the others returned triumphantly. Zichen began to explain to them some things in this world. Interesting. Monk carried a long blade. This is challenging, and I can continue to grow. The law annihilation realm, not a bad realm. Next, Zichen led everyone into the depths. Along the way, those ordinary people looked at the scene in shock. We're rich. We're completely rich. Old Yao was very excited because he had hugged a real thigh. Xiao Zhu's eyes fell on Su Mengyao Miao Miao and the others because they were very beautiful, unimaginably beautiful, just like immortals. Could it be that they were all from the upper realm? This was what everyone thought. Coming to the depths, this was where Okon lived, and now it naturally became Zichen's place. But now, Zichen did not plan to live here. He wanted to rebuild this place. After informing everyone about the layout and situation of this place, everyone was very excited. There were also some who wanted to go out and explore. Zichen walked to the place where everyone came and said, "Next, I will build a separate building here. This will become the true core." Everyone nodded. Monk tried to walk into the teleportation array, but he did not activate it. He looked at Zichen in surprise, because Zichen could walk back and forth. Zichen said, "From the looks of it, I should be the only one who can go in and out." Zichen, who had returned, found that the spiritual power of the Pure Land was not small, which should be caused by his previous trip to the 10,000 spirit world. Now that the crisis of the ancestral beast had been resolved, it was of utmost importance to rebuild this Pure Land. No matter what the level of this world was, they had to guard this place. Zichen stomped his feet. Buzz! The Pure Land was shaking, and the buildings in the depths began to collapse. These were all built by Okon back then. Although the exterior was exquisite, the foundation of the array formation was not very good. After that, Zichen used the power of the Pure Land to turn the collapsed buildings into dust. Then, Zichen began to use the Pure Land's spiritual energy as the core to set up the foundation of the array formation. In this place, the foundation of the formation was the true core. Even if there were no buildings, as long as the foundation of the array existed, they would not feel uncomfortable even under the months of demons. Okon stood in the distance, watching the scene of the collapse. He knew that his era was coming to an end. He was a little disappointed and regretful, but he did not regret it. It was because he saw the limitless potential of this Pure Land. Just as Zichen had said, even if he only had one street, his future profits would exceed the Pure Land he currently controlled. With the help of many ninth-level spirit spells, halls were formed under the naked eye and stood tall. Wei Luo and the others stood beside Okon, looking at everyone's work in shock. And in the distance, there were many ordinary people who heard the news and came over. After seeing this scene, they were also shocked, speechless. In just half a day, the core had completely changed. The buildings were arranged in a picturesque disorder and were very imposing. After all, the 10,000 spirit world was a place with countless inheritances, unlike here where the inheritances were broken. So the shape of the buildings brought great shock to everyone. After the core was built, the next step was to rebuild the outer city. Before this, Zichen already had a plan in his heart. His body soared into the air. This time, it was the real privilege of the Pure Land's Lord. The power of the Pure Land continued to gather towards Zichen. At this moment, Zichen was like a god, drawing array diagrams in the air. As the formation diagrams appeared one after another, they flew in all directions, landing in places far away. This was Zichen's plan for this Pure Land. For the time being, he would treat it as the city wall of a city. As the array diagrams landed, it communicated with the Pure Land's power and caused the array to fall into the ground. Infinite light lit up from the periphery of the Pure Land. Not sure if it was an illusion, but the people here seemed to feel a faint warmth on their bodies. Wei Luo and the others only felt that Zi Chen's movements were very cool, but they did not understand what this meant. But Okon was very clear. He was also a law extermination realm. At this moment, he said with a shocked face, "Big move, it's really big move." Wei Luo and the others looked at him in confusion. Okon said, "Zi Chen's move is equivalent to turning all the places here into a room. In the future, even if everyone is on the street at night, the speed of life loss will be greatly reduced. It might even not disappear." What? When Wei Luo and the others heard this, their faces changed. They were shocked by Zi Chen's power, but immediately after, Wei Luo said, "If so, who will still stay in the inn? Won't the inn close down?" Okon looked at Wei Luo. "Your vision is small. This way, not only will the people staying in the inn not decrease, but there will be more, because in the inn there will be an array. This way, the life force will increase. In the future, it will be much easier for normal people to reach the first level of spirit cultivation." This time they were completely stunned. Hayden said, "So in the future, won't this place be filled with people at the first level of spirit cultivation? Oh my God, isn't this too terrifying?" "Terrifying?" Okon said, "Then compared to the people Zi Chan brought." Hearing this, Hayden did not speak anymore, because the people Zi Chin brought were all at the 9th level of spirit cultivation. Also, their combat strength was extremely strong. That's right. If everyone here was at the first level of spirit cultivation, that would be terrifying. Then what about the group of 9th level spirit cultivation that Zi Chin brought? What were they called? After everything was completed, Zi Chen's aura clearly became weak. Such a huge project could only be completed with the help of the Pure Land. Until now, the Pure Land's power was not small. It would take a period of time to recover. However, during this period of time, Zi Chen could expand the city to take in more people. The news of the ancestor beast's defeat was spread to the mantis demons. World within a world, they opened the world within a world. This was the mantis demons' first judgment. Then they sent out even more experts to the Pure Land where Zi Chan was. This time it was a 7th level spirit cultivation. You're tuning in to the Thunderspear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.